A ship class is a group of ships of a similar design. 1. This is distinct from a ship type, 1, which might reflect a similarity of tonnage or intended use. For example, USS Carl Vinson is a nuclear aircraft carrier, ship type, of the Nimitz class, ship class. In the course of building a class of ships, design changes might be implemented. In such a case, the ships of different design might not be considered of the same class. Each variation would either be its own class, or a subclass of the original class. See County-class cruiser for an example. If ships are built of a class whose production had been discontinued, a similar distinction might be made. Ships in a class often have names linked by a common factor. For example, Trafalgar-class submarines' names all begin with T. Turbulent, Tireless, Torbay, and Ticonderoga-class cruisers are named after American battles: Yorktown, Bunker Hill, Gettysburg, Anzio. Ships of the same class may be referred to as sister ships. The name of a naval ship class is most commonly the name of the lead ship, the first ship commissioned or built of its design. However, other systems can be used without confusion or conflict. A descriptive name may be used. For example, it was decided to group destroyers made to the same design as HMS Tomahawk, all named after weapons, as the weapon rather than Tomahawk class. In European navies, a class is named after the first ship commissioned regardless of when she was ordered or laid down. In some cases this has resulted in different class names being used in European and U.S. references. For example, European sources record the Colorado-class battleships of the United States Navy as the Maryland class, as USS Maryland was commissioned before USS Colorado. Citation needed contradictory. The West German Navy, Bundesmarine, used a 3-digit type number for every class in service or in advanced project state. Modified versions were identified by a single letter suffix. After the reunification of Germany, the German Navy, Deutsche Marine, kept the system. Informally, classes are also traditionally named after their lead ships. The Indonesian Navy has a traditional naming for its ships. Moreover, the ship's type and missions can be identified by the first number on the ship's 3-digit hull number, which is placed on the front bows and the back of the stern. The naming convention is such as Russian and Soviet ship classes are formally named by the numbered project that designed them. That project sometimes, but not always, had a metaphorical name, and almost always had a NATO reporting name. In addition, the ships of the class would be numbered, and that number prefixed by a letter indicating the role of that type of vessel. For example, Project 641 had no other name, though NATO referred to its members as Foxtrot-class submarines. The ship classification in Russia, and formerly Soviet Union, does not completely correspond common designation, particularly for destroyer, frigate and corvette-type ships. Russia has own classification for those ships. In Russia, there is a class of squadron torpedo carriers, Russian, that traditionally is adapted as destroyers, formerly torpedo boats destroyers. The Russian corresponding word for destroyer is used in Air Force for fighter aircraft. Also, destroyers could be classified Russian big anti-submarine ships, Russian, or big ASW ships, for example Udaloi-class destroyer. At the same time, big anti-submarine ships could also be classified as cruisers, for example Kara-class cruiser. The Russian big anti-submarine ships class also has its subclass of guard, or patrol, ships. The Russian guard, or patrol, ships, Russian, traditionally are reclassified as frigate, for example Gepard-class frigate. Another substantial class in Russia, and formerly Soviet Union, is small anti-submarine ships, Russian, or small ASW ships and are adapted as corvettes, for example Grisha-class corvette.